Okay, we are going to dive into some pretty heavy philosophy today. So I'm mostly doing this for the sake of the adults in the upper grades. Younger grades, just try to keep up the best you can, but don't worry if you get lost today, because I'm not being very fair to you in that way today. But to kind of make it up to you, I'll use some adorable visual aids. It's all about what we heard in that first reading today. The testimony of God is that he has testified on behalf of his Son Jesus. The Spirit is truth. If we accept human testimony, the testimony of God is surely greater. Testimony. That's the big word, the key word today. So the branch of philosophy we're going to use today is called epistemology. No, you don't need to remember that. It's called the study of knowledge. It addresses the question, how do we know that something is true? How do we know that we know? So, the thought experiment of this morning will be the following. How do we know that my teddy bear exists?
Allow me to formally introduce him. This is Squeeze. He is my oldest stuffed friend. I call him my stuffed friend because not all my stuffed animals are bears. So I've had him since I was 4. He's been with me through thick and thin. You. Go ahead, shake his paw. Okay. He's real, right? Yeah, he's not like an optical illusion or a hologram or anything, right? No? Okay, good. Okay, so, right this second, hiding him out of view, in all likelihood, everyone here believes that Squeeze is real, but for at least 3 different reasons. Right now, I know that Squeeze is real because he's in my hands. My sense of touch is saying that something fuzzy and soft and adorable is in my hands. That's called sense data. It's the most direct way we know something. Information from your 5 senses. How do we know something is true? We can see it, we can hear it, we can smell it, you name it. You think Squeeze is real, right? Can you see him? Can you smell him? No. You can't taste him, can you? Okay, good. I don't recommend that you do that. So how do you know he's real? Good. I'm going to be a little more specific. That was the right answer. She remembers that she felt him. That's the second category of knowledge, memory. Memory is like sense data plus time. It's not quite as reliable as direct information, but it's pretty close. And we use it all the time. Think of all the things you wouldn't know if you didn't have a long-term memory. For instance, I know for a fact that chocolate ice cream is better than butter pecan ice cream because I remember that butter pecan ice cream is totally gross. I mean it. I've said that before, by the way. Okay, so I said there were 3 ways. The third way is testimony. Remember, that's our key word today, testimony. Kind of sounds like testament. That's not a coincidence, by the way. Testimony is when you know something is true because someone else told you. So the people in the back that can't see Squeeze very well, even when I had him out, they probably think Squeeze is real because they're hearing me talk about him as if he's a real thing. And they probably trust me enough to know that I wouldn't make up a story about an imaginary teddy bear. All right, that's not my style. So here's the thing. Testimony is tricky because people are wrong from time to time. You know, we exaggerate, we lie sometimes. Honestly, testimony is not as reliable as sense data or our memory. I mean, That's not always the case, but come on. You. If I said squeeze is blue, would you believe my words or your memory that squeeze is a brown bear? How many people think that squeeze is brown? How many people think he's blue just because I said so? Good. No, get your hands down. Right, of course you're going to trust your own memory. Front row people, if I say that Squeeze's fur is rough like sandpaper, how many of you believe my words over your own sense of touch? What? No, you believe your son's data. He feels soft and adorable because he's lovely and wonderful. And if I say his fur is like sandpaper, you'd be like, are we talking about the same thing? So you see the difficulty with that. Now, here's the reason I'm saying all this. In the first reading today, we heard that the testimony of God is greater than the testimony of persons, of human beings. And that is so true, okay? Human testimony is wrong, as you just heard. Sometimes it's wrong. Human testimony says ridiculous things sometimes, like squeeze is blue, or that butter pecan is delicious. It's not. It just isn't. I'm sorry. The testimony of God is beyond all of that. The testimony of God is about all of those sacred truths that are always true. We are loved more than we can know. That is true. You know it's true, and it stays true no matter how many people try to tell you otherwise. This world is flawed and imperfect, but it's also blessed, and we know in our hearts that it's worthy of our respect. No matter how many people think they can, cut down rainforests and jungles just because they think they can. That doesn't change the truth that the earth is special and deserves our respect. I'm sure you realize that the list goes on, but you know what? All of those truths are summed up in that image of Christ on the cross. That's why it's our number one symbol of faith. All divine truths, all of God's testimony, everything that's really important in life is summarized in that one image of Christ on the cross. John knew that when he was writing that letter that we heard today. And in a way, he wrote it for us and for our well-being.